Sign in for me. Welcome. So I'm kind of like the big sister around here. You guys know that I lost my son too. It's been 15 years. I just celebrated 15 years of my son's death on Memorial Day. Y'all know these groups are important because we need these groups to be able to cope with our loss, because you're gonna need some form of support with each other. Community of Survivors is a bunch of families who have lost a loved one in a violent way.
I lost my son to gun violence.
And we come together as one.
If a person haven't been through it, they can't pat you on the shoulder and say it's gonna be all right. And I went somewhere 3 days, didn't know where I was, and looked in the mirror and I didn't see me. I was lost, man. I was lost. And
our families don't get the support that they really, really need from loved ones, friends, because everybody dissipates. They disappear after a month or two. The phone calls stop. And then that's when the real deal happens. Angela, I want you to tell us a little bit about how you got here and why you're really here.
You know, I lost two. I lost one September 4th, 2015, and turns around and lose another one. I don't wish this on nobody. And the way that it is out here, it's hard. I don't wish our parents have to suffer. And when I say I suffer a lot. It was just so hard on me, and I just miss my kids. I would never thought that I would have to be burying two kids in 2 years apart. It's hard.
Thank you. That took a lot to say all of that. And we usually do that in the first group, but because you're new in our group, we want you to feel loved, we want you to feel welcome, and we also want you to know that we care and we're here for you.
Let me know in the comments, what's the hardest thing you've ever went through?
And it's tough. She said it is tough. Back to back.
My name is Tiffany. My son was killed January the 16th, 2017 on the porch at home. He was my only child. I cry every day. I can't look at his Facebook page. I can't look at his pictures half of the time. I can't look at his clothes. I can't go in his room. It's very hard. So I came to this group today, thanks to Naomi, to try and get, try and learn how to cope with it more better. Because it's hard. It's very hard. And without my parents, I probably wouldn't be here today.
It's sad. It's sad. I keep hearing people saying, this killing gotta stop. This killing, when is it gonna stop? What do we have to do to make it stop? What do we have to do to make these guns stop being picked up?
The only way something is gonna be done is if somebody stands up. Somebody steps up and says something. Nothing will be done if everybody sits on their hands and don't do anything. We need more people to step up and say, hey, you know what, this is our community. This violence is happening. We don't want it no more in our community.
We want you to feel safe. We want you to feel loved unconditionally. Sometimes love has to come unconditionally. And there's so much love to give, so I want to give everybody a hug and thank you for coming. And don't leave here. Doing this work is what keeps me going, helping others like myself. Dealing with homicide families, which is, you gotta be tough to do this work. I have sucked up so much pain, hurt from other families. It's just a constant reminder that people need people. We need people so that we can begin the healing process. So when I share these tears, I share tears because I miss my son. I love my son very much. I can't bring him back, but I wish he was here. My story goes way, way, way back. First time having sex, I had pregnant. At 15, with my firstborn son. I was pregnant my first year of high school. After that, I ended up dropping out of high school. My mother helped me raise my children. Andy was smart. He loved to play with cars. Of course, he liked to go to the park. I would take him to the park when I had a chance. He might have been 6 or 7, and he had his missing tooth. He was like, Mom, my tooth is falling out, look. I said, well, let me pull it out. He's like, no, I'm gonna do it. And he was just smiling and his tooth was out of his mouth. That was just one of those memories that, I can never forget that. And he was a good kid. He was not in gangs. I mean, he knew friends who made bad choices, but he was just a vibrant, full of energy kid. The guy that took his life, even though he came to my home with Andy, I never saw any signs of, anything bad or bad vibe or a bad feeling. But I never questioned his relationship with this boy, and I think I should have. Andy was standing on a corner. It's a school in that corner. His friends are on the porch. There was a car coming, an unknown car with males in it, and his friend didn't tell my son that he was going to shoot. And he shot my son instead of the car. I don't think he meant to shoot my son, but then again, I had those thoughts that he did it on purpose. So they waited for the ambulance to come. They took him to Stroger Hospital. I got the phone call. They didn't want to tell me how serious it was. My son was still alive when I got there, bandaged up. He shot him in the most important part of his brain that kind of keeps us together as functioning. The boy was there. I didn't know he shot my son. He was scared. He didn't know if my son was gonna live or die. I didn't know who knew from the family that the shooter was there with us, amongst us. And we waited, and he bled too much and passed away. I didn't expect him not to survive. And when he passed away, that was the worst day of my life. You don't expect to bury your child. I didn't know, what to do. Just hug and cry and hug. And the detectives came over and said, his friend did it. I was just in shock when I found out who it was. I wanted his parents to feel the same thing. I was so full of anger, hatred. I wanted somebody to do to him what he did to my son.
Y'all make sure y'all go back there to those resource tables. Got a lot of information that they get out to the community. So go over there and check them out.
I started volunteering with a friend of mine. She asked me to come out. Let's do this march to stop the violence. So it started with the volunteering, the marching, the sharing my son's story. Noticing that there was so many families out there, that the killings in Chicago was really serious, and that our families are seriously suffering.
It's the Chicago Survivors Table right here. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So what we do is we respond to the Chicago homicides that occur here in the city.
Taking this job has been a very important part of my healing process. And I believe that helping others like myself at this capacity has helped me take a deeper look into my own grief and loss. How am I doing myself? I'm not as angry as I used to be because I've accepted that my son has passed on. I do healthy things. I don't want to isolate. I don't want to shut down. I've been there, done that in the beginning phases of grieving. I shut down. I don't want to be bothered with people, those sleepless nights. I don't have to go through those things anymore because my son doesn't want to see me suffer. He doesn't want to see me go through that. He wants me to live my life. what sense does it make for me not to move on and do what I've always wanted to do and be successful at it? I started traveling. I learned how to ride a motorcycle, so those things are very beneficial to me because it gives me a sense of freedom. And I started to do those things that I've always wanted to do.
This video raises questions, and I need for you to be extremely honest in the comments when answering them. And just so you know, I have 3 questions. Number 1, what do you think of when you hear someone say, "I don't wish this on nobody"? Number 2, who would you like for me to do a video on next? And number 3, what are your thoughts about this video? Please be honest in the comments. Please be honest in the comments when answering these questions. Share this video with anyone you deem necessary. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.